Welcome to another episode of Real Life Survivor Stories, a talk show about real life, real people, and real stories. And if you're new and you're just tuning in, Real Life Survivor is a non-profit organization. And what makes us unique is that we're an organization for every cause, every circumstance, and every situation. So no one ever has to feel alone or suffer in silence. We share stories on every platform. And here we give you a voice. And today I'm so excited to have with us in the studio Justin Burns. Thank you so much for coming in today. And you have an amazing, amazing story. I know we have connected before and we had your poster done and you touched a lot of lives and you continue to do so. So I'm going to start out by asking you when you were diagnosed. Now, before we begin, Justin is a real life survivor of a brain tumor and he has an incredible journey.
Yeah, so I guess how my story started, like I said, I was very young. I was 3 years old when I was first diagnosed. So at that point, my parents were still very young as well. So, they had me when they were about 21. So at that point, they were about 24, 25. I'm 31 years old now. So, being at that age, could never imagine having a child to go through anything like that.
Exactly.
But even starting out, the way it kind of happened is my mom being so young just kept taking me to the doctor and they just could not pinpoint what was going on with me, but she's seen so many changes in my personality, my, just my eating habits, basically everything that made who I was as a child.
Right.
Was just, turned to something totally different. And she took me back to the doctor probably, 8 to 15 times back and forth for almost a year or so. And it almost gets to the point where it's too late at that point, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, it finally came to the point where, the doctor came in and he was basically, pretty well in tears himself and apologized to my mother saying, so sorry. We just never looked into it enough. We blame you for being a young mother and thinking that, it's one of those issues where you're not really sure what you're doing yet, because I was the first child as well, right? So it could be your first time going through things like that.
Yes, of course.
But, finally he kind of ate the bullet on that and he went to her and told her straight up, I'm so sorry, Helen, but your son has a brain tumor. And again, even when she hears that as a 24, 25-year-old, she's still a little geared, like, what's that mean? What do I do now? Like, what's the next steps? Like, it's still a lot of emotions and thoughts going on, right?
Yeah.
But what happened that night, I got rushed from Cape Breton to the IWK in Halifax, like that immediate night. And it actually ended up being one of my dad's good friends that he grew up with from my hometown that ended up rushing me up to the IWK.
Right.
So it was a nice emotional connection there. But yeah, that's kind of how it all started out. I was 3 years old when that happened, made it to the IWK, and after a long time of them doing tests and trying to figure things out, there's multiple stages to it, I guess. Mm-hmm. At first they thought the best course of action would be radiation therapy.
Okay.
And if you get radiation therapy at that age, you're right on the brink. Basically, it's like about 4 years old. If you get radiation therapy after that, you can still regain your, all your neurons or everything that kind of connects to who you are.
Right.
But prior to that, it kind of stunts your growth if you get the radiation therapy. So I would have been, it would have been cutting my lifespan, well more than half. I probably would have been, most people like that, you live till like 14 years old, and it's not a life that I would want any parent to suffer with the child.
Exactly.
I'd be one of those kids that basically I'd have to be fed and I'd be pushed around in a wheelchair. It just wouldn't be myself. I wouldn't have my own personality that I have now, and I'm very lucky for that portion of it.
So what were the signs and symptoms that your mom was noticing that was like the changes in you, like that she brought you to the doctor? Like, were you having headaches? Or? It
was a lot of headaches, definitely headaches every single night, like crying, like waking up crying in the middle of the night, just screaming. Like, I've had headaches even recently. I'm sure everybody had headaches, and
right.
you don't feel like that type of deal.
Okay.
And then basically every meal I had, I was throwing it up, like almost every single meal I had.
Wow.
And then just the personality change, like I was not being myself, like the child that I was supposed to be at that age, like 3 years old. You're supposed to be a little rambunctious, a little bit of playing with your toys and whatnot, and I was just more like a sit in the corner and stare at a wall type of child after a little while there.
You probably didn't know how to express yourself exactly. You have a headache, but you didn't know what was going on. She didn't know what was going on, so it's kind of a difficult process. But can I ask you where the tumor was located?
Yeah, so it was on my brain, and it was a cancerous tumor. It wasn't non-cancerous, so it was growing type of deal. So that's why the first option was do the radiation therapy, just kill it, get rid of it at the source. Because my mom has a choice there. It's either we can do one option where your chance of living is a lot less, and at that point it was the surgery, which the doctor at the time didn't feel comfortable with doing.
Okay.
So that gave me a lot less chance of actually surviving. So if you're given a choice when you're a parent where you have a choice of give your kid a few more years, at least, even 5 to 10 years versus a 10% chance of making through the surgery, it's they're going to pick the choice with the even lesser life value at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely. So that's a huge thing. Now, how many treatments did you have to have? Do you remember? How long did it take for them to say, okay, I think he's going to be good?
So what happened was I actually spent my 4th birthday at the IWK, and I still remember that too. So my birthday's in April, so at that point Easter was before my birthday, so I still remember even the Easter Bunny coming in to visit, and he gave me this yellow wind-up car to drive around in, and that was kind of like the first thing I remember. But the way it kind of all winded out was I went to the whole point of going so far where I actually got my mask made. So when you get radiation therapy, you have to go get a mask made to help once they do it, because they want to affect it too bad.
Yeah.
But basically, I was gone away. I got that made, and I was literally waiting for the phone call. And my parents were more so than me, but they were waiting for the phone call for me to go start the radiation therapy. And then it was literally that day, a new doctor comes in and calls my mom up, and again, she's 24 years old.
Yeah,
calls up Helen. And I'm sure he didn't use these words. He didn't say, "I think I can do the surgery," but I imagine it's like, Helen, I think I can do the surgery. I think I can, give him a more prosperous life than what this is going to, give him at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And that's a tough choice to make where, even my chances there were still 30% at that point. So it's a big choice to make to, go the safe route where he's going to survive at least another 5 to 10 years versus let's take a big gamble to give him the life that I have now, and I could, obviously I could not be more grateful than
you're amazing. You
than
really
that choice that was made there.
Absolutely, and you've come a long way, and here you are today. And now, are you, cancer free, or how is that working?
I am. So the unwritten rule with the type of cancer I had is after 10 years you're in remission.
Okay.
But the type I had also is very common to come back in your 30s, and here I am, 31 now. But that being said, I just got a full checkup probably about a year ago.
Right on.
And everything all checked out.
That's awesome.
So it's so
I always do
in
a
the
high
clear,
five
yes,
in a powerful moment.
In the clear at the
awesome.
time. But once I turn 35, I'll probably go get that done again, and then once I get in my 30s, I'll be a little more.
And even if you get a little headache or a little pain, you're probably thinking, "Oh no."
Oh, that's the thing, and
it's just that you know what I mean. It's always there, but that thought. But I mean, like I say,
just all about staying on top of your health and everything.
Exactly.
And monitoring the symptoms.
Now, how has it impacted your life today? Where are you today because of it, and what effect has it on your life? You're kind of like a spokesperson for, you're here today talking about what you went through.
Well, the first time that you and I met was at the Relay for Life probably about 5 years ago.
Yes.
And that I had long, luscious man bun at that time.
I remember you had your hair cut off.
That's what happened. Yeah, they shaved my heads. And that's the first time I ever actually, I always had long hair because I got a very large scar on the back of my head.
Yes.
But that's the first time I really, got the courage to shave the whole thing because it's, revealing a nice large scar on the back of your head there. But
yeah,
I was lucky to work with a company that, kind of supported that, and I ended up raising about $6,000 or so.
That's so cool.
For the Relay for Life. So, they made a spectacle of me in a sense.
Yes.
I went up on the stage, and you were there, and about 200 people there, and I do the the whole write up that I made and the speech. And I'm not a public speaker by any means. I still remember there was a girl that wrote a story on me. She says the first letters, the first words are Justin Burns with a shaky hand and shaky voice, and that's exactly how it went too. But I'd like to put myself out there, especially anybody that went through anything like I have. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions to kind of show yourself, especially for something like that. If somebody like me doesn't do something like that, then how are other people going to know? And I never realized how much it really affects people at that point.
That's right.
And I had a side job at Montana's at that time. I had a random man come up, find out where I work, and came there while I was working, and just thanked me and gave me all these pictures of the whole scenario there for the speech and everything.
That's awesome.
And I had another woman, a mother who messaged me or emailed me. Somehow got my email.
Yeah.
And she, basically her son is going through the exact same scenario that I went through with my mother at the same exact age. So,
wow.
Like, I never really realized, how it would impact people that I don't even know, and how that would, kind of roll downstream and, make people just give them a little bit more hope than they had prior.
Exactly. And I mean, there's a lot of people a lot of people out there watching right today that are going through the same thing or similar thing that Justin's going through. A lot of parents out there, and I can just imagine the load that you carry, the heaviness on your chest and just the worry that you carry. But Justin is absolutely a testimony for what he's going through and where he is today, and that there is hope, and you're living proof, right? Because,
right.
And you've come this far and you keep going, and then, keep using your voice is what we do here. We give people their voice, and, in hopes that someone watching today will be watching and, say, hey, we're going through the same thing, and maybe there is a little bit of hope for us, because I can, the worry would be just, so big.
And that's it.
Yeah.
It's the childhood cancer side of things, and I gotta reiterate, I am definitely one of the lucky ones. I've went to Camp Good Time, which is a camp for children that have cancer up from age 7 till 14 or so.
Right.
And I was one of the well-off ones. I can't reiterate how lucky I am compared to some people that are battling, years after year after year. Their whole life is sometimes a battle. Like me, like I said, it's a battle for my parents at that point. They had to go through the harsh part. I barely knew what was going on, and of course I had to go through it. But there's still people that went through it as a child, and to this day they're still battling that same cancer. And they're, some days they're good, some years they're good, some years they're not good.
Exactly.
And they're the ones that really deserve any type of recognition, and just the fact that I can give any bit of hope where you can, that doesn't have to be the scenario for everybody.
Exactly. No, true story. I mean,
that's right.
But some people, like I say, will go through it, and like you say, still have it today, from childhood. But a lot of people that have gone through it like you have and come as far as you have, I think you're a beacon for those people that, hey, there is some hope here. Where are you today because of it? Like, you're working? Like, I know you've moved back here from Halifax.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the way it affected me today, it definitely, I did a lot of work. I mean, growing up, like I said, Camp Good Time was a big part of my life. Even after I finished being a teenager or so, I went back there to volunteer as a buddy counselor, they call us, which is different than regular counselors. It's somebody that can actually connect with the children and give them, this is what I went through, the same thing, and this is what can actually come out of it. It doesn't have to be the be-all, end-all type of deal.
That's right.
And then ever since then, yourself, the first time we met, I started working a lot with the Canadian Cancer Society here in Fredericton about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
Did a lot of work with them, and since I've only just got back to Fredericton, so I really hope to reconnect with the same connections that I had there, and definitely get re-involved with everything that they're doing here. But as it stands right now, I've ended up going to university. I got a university degree. I got a full-time job, and everything is, as good as I can ever ask it to be, compared to what it could have been.
Exactly. Now, just I'm going to ask you, what inspiration would you give others? The parents going through the similar thing that your parents went through with you. They have children that are, diagnosed with cancer of any kind or brain tumor, specifically that, because you are a brain tumor survivor. What kind of words of hope or inspiration would you give to those families?
And, there's no real easy answer for that one. The best thing is to have the hope and just have the joy that you can have while you have it. I mean, it's life, and life is sometimes cruel.
Yes, it can be very
you just
cruel.
have to really put a smile on, and happiness can cure more than doctors can at times. And it's just having the joy and just having the positive mindset, and that can really just expand your life for much longer than anything else there.
Yes, exactly.
So whatever you're going through, just as hard as it is, just keep a smile on and keep that hope, and that's when better things happen at the end of the day.
What are your plans for in the future?
Yeah, my main plans in the future, like I mentioned, I definitely want to reconnect with everybody in the Canadian Cancer Society here. I know they have like a lot of good programs going on, a lot of good.
They have like relays.
Yeah, relays.
And they have a lot of fundraisers.
Relay for Life, and another big one that they had there that I actually worked on when I previously was here was the Bite for the Fight.
Okay.
Which is.
What do they do?
The Canadian Cancer Society put it on to make money and make awareness for cancer survivors.
Okay.
But basically, they put a bunch of teams together from different companies. They raise money, and then they have a large event, which is like a pretty prestigious event. They're pretty expensive tickets. Everybody's all dressed up, and they basically go. There's different sites set up where they all have a different team, and they all have a different restaurant that they're set up with. Mm-hmm. And then they all make one dish. And then each person will go dish to dish, and then they'll vote on which one's the best at the end of the day. And it's all just a big night event where everybody gets dressed up, and there's some drinks and whatnot.
Now, where's this held?
It's different every year, and honestly, I'm not even positive they still have it anymore because that was about 4 or 5 years ago when I was back. But that's definitely one thing I'll definitely be looking into to move forward. And other than that, there is the brain tumor walk for life. So there's a relay for life.
Yes.
For all cancer survivors and whatnot, but there's also just a brain tumor walk for life as well.
Right.
And that just happened just before I ended up getting up to Fredericton, unfortunately. So I missed out on that one. But
okay, well, it's always next year.
Next one, I'll definitely be fully involved in the next one, and hopefully you can join us.
Absolutely. I went last year. I know my sponsors were there.
Oh, is that right?
And they invited me to go, and I was, I was really shocked by just the outcome and all the people and all the different events they had. And then they had that candle lighting. I remember
That's
that.
right,
That
yeah.
was so cool because my husband passed away, terminal cancer.
Right.
Now his was in his gallbladder. But with that said, I was there to support. And of course, we support every cause. And it was just a blessing to be there and meet you and see what you were doing and what you were going through. And just, I get really inspired by just all that you guys go through, through what you're going through and what you're able to do with it. Because, it's a scary part of your journey and your life changes, just, in seconds.
Sure.
1 minute you're doing this and then now all of a sudden it's a new day. And now your life has totally changed because now you're going through this, these treatments and, the phone calls and the visits, the doctor visits, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's just like seeing something like that come together is just a beautiful thing.
Just hearing everybody's story is
absolutely
the most heartfelt piece to me, I guess. And, definitely the more similar ones to mine, it definitely hits a note there. But to me, like I said, Camp Good Time is a camp for every type of cancer. And,
okay.
I was lucky enough, like I know many, many people that have been there with me that are no longer here today.
Oh, really?
This is the way it was, right? But it was 1 week where kids can go and just be a normal child for 1 week and then not think about, they literally leave a hospital to go to that camp and they can live a normal life with the normal kids because everybody's kind of similar and nobody, it's like it thinks anything different of it.
Yeah.
And, and then they go back to their normal life. It just gives them a chance to really connect, and they might not have many chances for that, and at the end of the day they typically don't, which is the unfortunate part.
Yeah, so where's this held again?
It used to be in New Glasgow.
Okay.
Now that not unfortunately, but the good part is they ended up moving it to a new camp called Brigadoon, which is up in Upper Nova Scotia.
Okay.
And it is more accessible for the children that were had larger disabilities, I guess. They were inaccessible to they needed more accessible ramps and just ways to connect with everybody else. So it's good they built that basically specifically for the cancer side of things and the inaccessible side of things. So it's definitely great, but unfortunately I haven't been able to get to that one yet.
Okay.
But ideally I'll definitely be able to get down there just to visit for a day or two and just have a talk with people.
Exactly. There's so much going on, and on the staff that's on site, I imagine they have people there that are like medically prepared in case
that's the
something
thing
happens.
with the new one. They have a full staff for the whole year, so they have different camps coming through each week. So basically, they have a full staff that does each individual camp. But the difference was the one that we had in New Glasgow was we actually worked there year in, year out. So we went there for Camp Good Time, and we looked after the camp side of things, whereas, they kind of, we didn't get a chance to do that because they had the year-round staff there at the new place. But
right.
That being said, they do invite us over there every now and then just to, have a little talk and, just to show everybody that, we've been there. And
Yeah, it's like a second family, right?
that's exactly it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it's something that will live with me forever for sure.
Right on. Now I'm going to ask you, for families that are going through similar, what your family went through with you, and this amazing journey that you're on, where's their resources? Like, where could they reach out? Do you remember anybody that, they connected with, as far as resources, that they could kind of like
as far as
call or
resources,
email or?
There is. I mean, the Canadian Cancer Society has tons of resources in its own, and
Right.
you could definitely Google that, look them up, and go on their website. They have tons of resources,
Okay.
like in and out for every type of cancer. But that being said, there's even a subdivision of brain tumors alone, where they used to have a brain tumor camp by itself there, where I used to go each and every year. So right there, my mom meeting families that were
Yeah.
going through the same thing, and again, there's many people that I met there that again are not here with us anymore, and I still connect with some of these people that are here
Absolutely.
to this day, and
Yeah.
we'll always have that connection and forever. It's somebody that you can message any time of day,
Yeah.
and it's like nothing ever changed. I've never seen them in 15 years, and it's like just message them, and you can talk about whatever that's on your mind. It doesn't matter if it's about the cancer, just whatever's going on in life. It's
yeah.
the connection you made.
So the Canadian Cancer Society, you just basically call them or email them, and they'll kind of direct you to
Yeah, I'd
where you should
recommend
go.
looking up their website there, and there's literally links that show resources available for the different type of cancers, and there's numbers they can call, and there's tons of free resources available just to talk to people in general about what's going on and kind of how to deal with this on the medical side of it or even the personal side of it.
Okay, perfect. Well, Justin, again, thank you so much for coming in today. I really appreciate you. And I want to thank you, viewers, for watching. And if there's anybody out there that would like to share their real life survivor story with us, you can reach out to me on Facebook under Julie Comeau, and also on my fan page, Real Life Survivor. And remember, no matter the struggle, no matter the challenge, no matter the obstacle, never give up. We'll see you back here next time with another real life survivor story.